front of Anna University, and people generally say, what's in the name? Very cynically. But I would say there is everything in the name. There is all in the name. Look at the name like stars jasmine. Jasmine, there is fragrance to it. Stars, okay. I don't have to mention about the significance of the stars. There are different kinds of stars. Besides the 5-star chocolate and the twinkle, twinkle, little star, there are also 5-pointed, yes Clara, wait Clara, 5-pointed stars, 6-pointed stars, 12-pointed stars, 14-pointed stars. Understand that about more than 35 countries have stars in their flags. Did you know that? You didn't know that. Okay, and that's besides the number of Islamic countries, which have stars along with the crescent. Okay. And the stars also symbolize many things. It symbolizes multiple things. One of the things it symbolizes is the convergence of opposites. Okay, it brings in different kinds of things. For instance, unity in diversity, and a compromise instead of conflict, and the conformity to a new consciousness where all is one. And Dr. Stark Jasmine is one person who can remain calm and composed even when there is a tsunami in the department. And very often, and this is one person who can bring the entire department to the negotiating table and thrash out the issues, iron out the issues, and such is the commitment that she has towards the department. A conscientious teacher, a sincere friend. It's always a pleasure to work with a person like Stark Jasmine, and now the floor is ours. Thank you, friends.
Good morning, everybody, and respected professors, Dr. Saraswati, Dr. Ramsa, the professors from the various colleges, and also the student friends, the scholars. And thanks to Dr. Ilango for introducing me like that. I do not know whether I stand for all that he has mentioned, but anyway, I'm glad that he had good things to say about me. And today we all know that we have come for the viva of Mrs. Mangesarasi, and the title is The Teaching of General English at the Tertiary Level in Tamil Nadu. As teachers of English, we are all concerned about the subject that we are teaching and the problems that we are facing, and we are all in the process of finding solutions to all the problems. And learning English for the students is always a challenge to them, and as teachers, we are trying to sort out the problems to the students. And at this juncture, this topic is of interest to all the language teachers. English language teaching is important not only in India but all over the world. So wherever we go, we are recognized as English teachers. And thanks to ELT, because this recognition has been given to the language teachers very recently, and this topic is also very relevant in the present scenario. So with these few words, I request Mrs. Mangesarasi to make her presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, dear friends. I present before you the synopsis of my doctoral thesis titled The Teaching of General English at the Tertiary Level in Tamil Nadu, an Exploratory Study, pursued under the scholarly guidance of Dr. Ilango, Head and Professor of English at Anna University. The central idea of my thesis is the study and evaluation of General English syllabus as prescribed by the colleges under the University of Madras and the syllabus of the autonomous colleges which were granted autonomous status for the first time in Tamil Nadu. This study concluded with a suggestion for a theoretical framework for the General English at the tertiary level in Tamil Nadu. Next slide, please. As an introduction to my study, I started with the definition of language syllabus. Morse and Rogers defined the language syllabus as a set of justifiable educational objectives specified in terms of linguistic content. The specification of objectives must have something to do with language form or substance, with language using situations, or with language as a means of communication. This perspective, as evident in the definition, leads to the idea that the objectives of teaching English language should be narrowed down to the application of the language by learners in their day-to-day communication and to make learners aware of discourse organization and develop proficiency in manipulating and producing discourses in terms of grammar, meaning, intention, and contextual appropriateness. Let's look at the purpose of syllabus now. The syllabus serves many purposes for learners and teachers. It ensures a fair, impartial understanding between the instructor and learners. It provides a roadmap of course organization, direction for success. In addition, a syllabus may be expected to indicate the usefulness of the course in career building. The study then led to the status of English syllabus in Tamil Nadu. A critical review of the University of Madras offered a deeper insight into the general English teaching and learning process in Tamil Nadu. On the whole, for the University of Madras is one of the oldest universities in the nation, which was established on 5th September 1857. Since its inception, it continues to have compulsory general English learning incorporated at the tertiary level. Let's move on to the next slide. As stated at the outset of my presentation, the focus of research is confined to review of general English syllabuses in University of Madras from 1857 to 2010 and autonomous colleges between 1978 and 2010 at the undergraduate level. And then the second one, evolving a new theoretical framework. Let's move on to the next slide, please. The constructed hypotheses are English language teaching in India or Tamil Nadu in the early days had no definite goals or purposes. The general English syllabuses of the University of Madras are out of sync with the current demands of the job market. That's my main focus. Let's move on to the next slide. I would like to throw light on theoretical assumptions on syllabus. There are so many theoretical assumptions framed by Himes, Mundy, Brumpet, Willowson, Wilkins, Canlin, and Green. I would like to share some of their key ideas here. First, analysis of language in context. Language teaching should focus not only on form, but also on functions. Learners need to develop communicative competence, a knowledge of rules of grammar, a knowledge of socio-linguistic rules of language and use. Language learning should emphasize on integration of skills opposed to the separation of traditional skills, since language use often involves more than one skill. General English program in general provide learners with sufficient opportunities to use language. The language teaching classroom should be learner-centered, where the teacher is a facilitator. Here I would like to throw more light on the learner's requirement, our topic of the thesis on learner's requirement. Main focus is on learner's requirement. So, language teaching should emphasize on the development of strategies for negotiation, expression, and interpretation of meaning through the use of content relevant to the requirements of learning. Finally, learner's requirement can be interpreted functionally according to the on-job requirements. Needs could also be interpreted in a different way, where it refers to the general communicative competence. From these key ideas, it is evident that a syllabus that encompasses all these aspects prove to be of great practical value to learners. Next slide, please. Chapter 2 focuses on a very important review of the general English syllabus of the University of Madras from its inception. Here, I have started my excavation. The old regulation period from 1857 to 1915, the new regulation period 1915 to 1970, and the revised regulation 1971 to 2010, all analyzed. I would like to show the syllabus to you all, the old regulation period first. Can we have a look at it? 1863, there were only 3 components: Shakespeare, drama, poetry, and prose.